Oh yeah. So I get these questions all the time. So what's Mark writing this year? What's going to be the new puppet play, right?
Oh, that's wonderful.
So the new puppet play for us this year is called the Christmas Cub. And again, when you're in the Worship Design Studio, just it's right down here, puppet play, the Christmas Cub. This one comes separately, so you can just click on the link here and it will take you to where you can purchase that separately. And I'm going to share with folks, once you purchase that, a link takes you to the file download sharing space that looks like this. And so what you will get is the puppet play in PDF format, as well as Word version, and then the MP3 recording that Mark created that will actually allow you to just do the puppets while you use the recording, which is good for so many reasons, especially if you're going to do an online thing and you are recording yourself. You can just put that MP3 recording right in your video editing software and be able to have a real quality recording in that. So lots of good uses for that this year. So let me open up this document and introduce us to your friends.
There they are.
Here they are.
Yeah. Well, let's see where to begin with this. So we several years ago we started adding a family Christmas Eve service, and this sort of became the centerpiece of it. This is what we do instead of a sermon at the 5 o'clock. Well, now we do a 3:30 and 5. So we do 2 family services because we had so many people. And rather than a sermon, it's about anywhere from a 7 to 12 minute puppet play, and based on some kind of theme. For this one, it's kind of an outsider story. It's a wolf cub, and the wolf cub is by itself, and it's cold and it's shivering, and the other animals want to let the wolf cub into the barn, but sheep doesn't, because sheep knows from past experience what happens to wolf cubs when they grow up. And so, when I originally wrote it, I wasn't really thinking about all of these themes about not just welcoming the other, but stereotypes and suspicion of people who are different. And but all that rich stuff that's right there under the surface is there.
And it will be, for many adults who are watching, it will be right up on the top of the surface. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it sure will be. So about some of the puppets, and I've got some of my friends here too, and how to get them. There's a lot of different companies that make puppets, and some of them look like really lifelike with amazing features. And depending on your worship space, the more lifelike features work well in a more intimate space, because they tend, like for example, on this cow, they're a little bit smaller eyes, and so and even udders, and so that's great. And so that's the only cow puppet we had, so we had to use this one. But if you're in a bigger space, it's good. Here's the pig. So something with almost cartoonishly large features works. It translates better. This is a company that it was gunned, that called Kooky Creatures. They've discontinued it. So I'm gonna throw some puppet tips at you. So one of them is, when you find a puppet you like, get more than one. Like this cow, this is Folk Manus, who does gorgeous puppets. But every once in a while, a puppet will wane in popularity and they'll discontinue it. So if you have a puppet you like and you're gonna cast it, I mean, if you're gonna do a nativity puppet play, you're probably gonna use the cow multiple times, right? So get a couple.
So get multiple cows.
Get multiple cows. So one of the puppet tips, while I've got this guy here, is we're always working to make sure that the puppet makes eye contact. Like for example, let me see if I can get it. Yeah, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
But if it's oftentimes when you're like behind a screen or talking with the puppet talks to the ceiling.
So
it's always important to bend the wrist. So
bend the wrist, yeah.
And really to focus. And when the puppet's really focusing on the viewer, it makes it seem so much more lifelike. I mean, it really makes a difference. there was another reason I wanted to mention having multiples of the same puppet, and that is, for example, if you need a costume change or a puppet has to go through some physical transformation. And I learned that the hard way. We had an owl puppet one time that had to go through, he was being a shepherd. Don't ask, it's too complicated right now. But we were trying to switch and put the shepherd, I'm like, let's just get an identical owl puppet. And so all we have to do is the puppet disappears, put the new one on. So there's a part in the puppet show. So all the animals are trying to warm up the wolf cub. The wolf cub is shivering, and so you've got a rooster and a cow and a pig, and they try. The hen tries sitting on it like eggs, and of course the wolf cub goes nuts and sends feathers flying. And then the pig has the idea, let's milk the cow and give it some nice warm milk. And of course the pig is horrible at milking cows, and milk gets all over the place. It's a disaster. They tried singing, they tried dancing, they tried telling jokes. Nothing works. Finally, the sheep's like, is fed up. She's a little crusty, but heart of gold. And so she has an idea. So she goes away off stage and she comes back. So here's the sheep, right? Once again, this is one of those gunned Kooky Creatures puppets. And so she comes back and she has sheared off her wool. So you need, and yeah. She's used the wool to make a blanket to wrap the wolf cub in. Oh. And so it's great to have her disappear and then she comes back with the blanket. And so having the two puppets allows you, because you obviously don't have time to cut all the hair off between.
But apparently the sheep is having time to play the piano in between.
Yeah, I got my keyboard on the piano right now. It's yeah, this is the choir room at the church.
Got it. So that's really great. Now, of course, people can make their own puppets. Mm-hmm. You might have some people who can get some patterns for puppets or create their own patterns.
Yeah.
And they can be, you know, they don't have to be as fancy as the ones you've got.
Not at all.
You know, it's amazing when we can give a paper bag a character and a voice, and mm-hmm. it can be believable, you know. So be creative with that, folks. The puppet suppliers that you mentioned, or at least the one that's still with us, are those links in the, I don't remember if the links are in the resources?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I can send you that. And what I do is I go up, you know, online and I look for, you know, who's making what? Is there a new company that's emerged? Mm-hmm. Melissa and Doug is a company that will sometimes make puppets, and just I'll try to find them. I had to get a replacement pig puppet, and I found one on eBay, and it was reasonably. Now sometimes they'll try to gouge you, and once again, I mean, none of us have a big budget right now, so I mean, what you said, I think is really important. Kids don't care about how fancy the puppet is.
Yeah.
Simple is better. If it's a stick, if it's a rod puppet, like if you make just a cut out of a sheep and have it on a stick, that is fine. That is absolutely fine. Which brings me to the other thing too. I mean, don't worry about all the pipe and drape staging and so that you can conceal yourself. What I've learned is that the only time kids care if they can see the puppeteer is when the puppeteer's trying to not be seen. The rest of the time, they just don't. I mean, if you're there and you're moving, or like, okay, yeah, there's a person back there. Okay, so now what's the sheep saying again?
Right.
They don't care. And it works virtually. I mean, this year is a great year to start trying puppetry, because you can have puppets enter and there's your stage. Here's your proscenium, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could even put the barnyard as a green screen photo behind you.
Absolutely.
You could even have, I would imagine, if you want to get more people involved, you could put like the barn as a cardboard cutout on a stick. The moon can have be a moon.
Oh,
on a cardboard. I mean, you can add more things if you want to. Absolutely. And we also just want to remind people, and they know, but just remind people that you might have to get creative about staying distanced if you're doing this in adapted in-person worship. And so figure out how you can do that. Or if you have you know, if one character needs to come close to another character, have characters who are puppeteers who are in the same family, right? Or, you know, just get creative with being safe on that.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, with this particular script, there's not a whole lot of. We've done this script with 3 people, so one person is cow and pig, one is hen and sheep, and the other one is wolf. And then that wolf has one hand in the puppet, and then the other hand is free to switch out the the puppets on the other. Yeah, in fact, and that's one of the good things too about having it pre-recorded. You can have multiple voices and different talents do that. And then if someone like, for example, when we did this show, the person who got sick had no voice left. Well, thank goodness we had her voice recorded already. And so, because I mean, we're in that'll be flu season.
Yeah.
That'll be, someone could get snowed in. And
right. So you record it beforehand. Speaking of the recording, let's listen to just a little bit of the recording so people know what that's like. Let's see, let me get back to it. So here's the recording. Play. Oh, there it went.
A frosty wind whistled through the leafless branches of the trees. The pale moon stretched its silver fingers across the frozen earth. Nightfall had come to the farm. Inside the old barn, the animals were all warm and snug. Cow, hen, pig, and sheep had just settled in for a good night's sleep when they heard the sound.
What was that? Nothing, pig. Probably just the wind. That's no wind. It's a wolf cub. I'll bet my wool on it. A wolf cub? I want to see it. I do too. Bah, suit yourselves.
Since Cow was the only one tall enough.
Great. So you can see that there's wonderful character voices and some music in there, just really well done. And it's 10 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's totally doable to insert into just about anything. Yeah. That's great. Well, Mark Burrows, you've done it again.
Yeah, thank you. You've done it again. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Well, we're always glad to have you on the team. So thank you so much for spending this time with us. And we'll let you know if people post any questions, that kind of thing. And yeah, thank you so much.
Great. Yeah, thank you very much, friends.
Bye, puppets. Bye, barnyard. Bye-bye.